Michigan State basketball dropped some new highlights from practice here, roughly 45 seconds or so of Michigan State practice footage. Feels like we get this about maybe once every week in the offseason when practices are going on for Michigan State. It's much appreciated because it allows us to do what we do best, overreact to every little tiny thing we see in this footage. And I got to tell you, Riley, I see a lot of things, good and bad, in this footage that I'd like to discuss with you. We must note at the top, our resident Spartan is not here today. Carter Elliott has the day off. He's working today, so Riley is in his place. But I know you're ready to talk some Spartan hoops based on this practice footage. So what did you see? What jumped out at you most in this new Michigan State practice reel?
So I think what I like the most, what first stuck out to me is I think it's really smart to feature Kerr Tang. He had two nice clips in there because just looking at this roster, aside from Jeremy Fears Jr., he's the guy who I'm most excited to see how he seizes this opportunity with plenty of open backcourt minutes. I think the highest ceiling version of this team involves Tang starting at the two as opposed to Trey Fort. And I think if you're a Spartans fan, their social media really threw you some red meat by saying, "Oh yeah, look at our guy Trey. He's knocking down shots. He's driving baseline." One of those drives was an assist from Divine Ugochukwu. Greg, I'm sure you like that. I feel like that they definitely had you in mind with that clip. Wanted to give a little love to an esteemed alumni. Never forget you are an alumni from there. So yeah, Tang was a big takeaway. I loved there was this is more minor, the clip of Carson Cooper and Jackson Kohler battling in the post. Hilarious that both of them truly have the exact same fade right now. I couldn't tell who was who because the clip shows the back of their heads first, then you see it's Cooper who gets the dunk. Coen Carr's jumper. I'm sure you want to talk about that, but I'll clear out and let you hit on that one. But yeah, again, I just come back to Kurt Tang and being excited to see what he can do and if he can make good on some of that top 60 4-star pedigree, high level score coming out of high school with truly like the runway in front of him to seize opportunity.
Yeah, no, I think you hit on a lot of the main things that jumped out. I've got a few to add, and we can go in depth on a couple of them. But broadly, I would start with this. You mentioned I'm a mutant, right? I get it. I'm not supposed to come on here and be a rival fan, but it is what it is. John Beeline won this heart, and no one's been able to take it away from me. I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. I gotta say this as a rival fan, this team already infuriates me, and I'm sure Michigan State fans love to hear that. But like the whole Michigan State MO in recent years, not acting like you haven't had great, incredible players for 2 decades, because you have. You've had NBA talent. There have been times where Michigan State feels like the best roster in the country. But last year it flipped into this fun, twisted, weird year where like everyone in Spartan Nation greatly enjoyed the fact that the team made no sense. It was like we're just gonna wear you down and have 13 guys that play for the logo on the front, and there's nothing you can do about it. Good luck. I think there's hope from everyone in the Big Ten, not just my rival fan base, but I think everyone is hoping that with Jace Richardson gone, some of that magic just goes away. And that without the star power in the center of it all, what's left with all of these role players? I got to say this broadly from watching this 45-second video. It's just, I can already fast forward to December and realize this Michigan State team is just tough as nails, scratching and clawing their way to wins that you feel like you can't even explain because dudes like Kurt Tang and Trey Fort are just gritty and, I don't know, combined to give you 40 great minutes at the two guard spot. The center spot is going to be Cooper and Kohler, and they're going to be annoying as hell and productive. Kohler's probably going to average like a double double. Carson Cooper looks really good right now. The season is going to hinge on Jeremy Fears and Coen Carr like it always has, but man, Izzo is publicly doubling down on strides that they've making, and there's a lot of good stuff in this video from both. So that's my broad takeaway is watching this. I'm just like, this team already annoys the hell out of me, and I'm sure Michigan State fans are going to greatly enjoy that. I think Kurt Tang and Trey Fort stand out, though, because the biggest question mark spot on the roster certainly is the shooting guard spot. And I was super anti Trey Fort when he was added. There's one moment in this. Kurtan got the first clip and he puts the ball in the deck, goes to his right, tough finish. It's more skill stuff scoring than we have ever seen from Kurtang. If that stuff translates, he's going to play a lot. But you went straight from a Kurtang drive and finish to a one-handed Trey Fort dime through traffic. And when I watched that pass, the first four times I saw it, I thought it was Jeremy Fears. It's not. It's Trey Fort throwing a one-handed dime through traffic to Carson Cooper for a dunk. I had no idea Trey Fort had that in his bag. I straight up didn't know he could do that. So I don't know. Now I'm viewing Trey Fort as like, can he facilitate a little bit? Can he do more than just space the floor and shoot? And as you mentioned, he hit some jumpers in this video too. He's just impressive to me right now, and it's looking early like I'm going to be wrong about Trey Fort.
I watched that same clip over and over. Okay, that was the one where I thought the same thing where I was like, is that Fierce who's throwing that dime? Like, who is that? That was when I couldn't tell initially if he was throwing it to Cooper or Kohler because the haircut looks too similar. But then a couple clips later, we do get a little Jackson Kohler bag work as well, and that clarified it too. But yeah, I think that's a good point on Fort in terms of if we see him do more than just shoot, if he can handle a little bit, be a secondary playmaker. I mean, I just think that would do so much for this team to take less pressure off of Fears, who I'm pretty high on. I texted you this when I did a short or a Riley Everyday rather on Jeremy Fears Jr. about how when I was watching his high school tape, I kind of saw Jeremiah. You laughed at me. You told me stop. It did not stop. I think if Fort can take a little bit of that playmaking burden off of him would go just there's a long way just because there's still so many questions about this backcourt.
There
There's
is a
questions about this
world.
roster up and down. Like I love Jackson Kohler too, but let's be real. Like he's gonna have to play big minutes. But sorry, continue what you're gonna say.
No, there is a world where you're right. It's best for this team if it's not 100% Jeremy Fears centric. Now, I think in an ideal world, Michigan State fans would say Jeremy Fears just takes a leap and is awesome, and we want him to be every possession centric. But it certainly takes pressure off of him if you can use Trey Fort in that way. And respectfully, I don't think Divine Ugachukwu is really going to factor in to that. So you kind of need Trey Fort or Kurtang to help you as a secondary ball handler. Looks like Fort might do that. I know we're who's
Who is
that? What are
this?
you doing?
Who is this? Is this Cam Ward? He
I
drives
honestly can't
baseline in it, but I
tell
couldn't
through
figure out
the
who.
Zoom call right now. I can't tell if that's Cam Ward or Jordan Scott, one of the two freshmen.
Okay, he's the one who had the drive. He drove baseline and finished over Jackson Kohler. I am infamously bad at identifying faces on a
I
basketball court.
want to say that's Jordan Scott, but I might be wrong.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks for the clarification.
You're welcome. I gave you none, but here we are. I feel like I'm hearing subtle hints of shade at Jackson Kohler from you. I do just want to go on record. He had a beautiful baseline spin in this video.
I love Jackson Kohler. I said this last year. Like the way this dude transformed his game and became this awesome rebounder. I will always love him for comparing himself to Giannis and Nikola Jokic on this program, and I was glad to see him become like a high level Big Ten player last year. I just honestly, I just love throwing out the term bag work when it comes to guys who like don't really have a bag.
Sure.
So I'm always going to be into that when I get to see a little give the ball to this player, get out of the way, and see what happens in these clips.
Today's video is sponsored by LabCorp On Demand. Car, do you take care of yourself?
I try my best to, yeah.
Like not just treat yourself to expensive meals, but like you go to the doctor and things like that?
No, I just take care of myself. There's no need to go to the doctor unless I'm not taking care of myself, right?
Are you afraid of the doctor, Cart?
Just a little bit. I mean, if nothing's wrong, why would I go there?
Listen, I'm the same way, and so are millions of men across America. But that's why LabCorp On Demand is helping millions of people like us. With their men's health test, you can get a comprehensive look at your hormone levels, your total testosterone, and you don't even have to go to the doctor. It's easy, and you get the results the next day.
Testosterone, is that a big thing?
It's a really important thing, Cart. Sometimes you can feel off without even knowing something's wrong. But LabCorp On Demand wants to keep you healthy and wants to make it as easy as possible. Right now, you can get 20% off your men's health test by visiting our sponsor at tryelco.com/sleepersmedia. It's simple, affordable, and honestly, it's empowering to know that you're healthy and have this info about your body.
Didn't know that testosterone did all those things. I'm gonna have to take the guesswork out of this and go get my health checked out today using LabCorp On Demand.
Yeah, that's fair. For the record, I do think Kohler's going to have to like take on some pretty serious scoring burdens for this team, and I think it's going to go better than people expect. And that baseline move was a good example why. I think he's just got like wiggle to him and is harder to guard than you realize. And I say that as someone who watched him dominate my front court in a game this year when my front court was full of guys who I think will probably play in the NBA at some point. I'm not sure Jackson Kohler will. Back to the big thing here. So you said Coen Carr, the jumper, and then there's another guy whose jumper we got to talk about, Jeremy Fears. Two very key pieces to this team, two very loud made jumpers in this video for various reasons. Let's start with Coen. Every time Michigan State basketball has promoted this team this offseason, in a 5 second snip, in a minute long snip, in Moneyball highlights, in anything that they've put out, they are intentional about showcasing Coen Carr shooting and, more importantly, making pull up jumpers. In this video, he hits a pull up three. It's probably the 11th pull up three I've seen Coen Carr make this summer. That's more pull up threes than I've seen him make in his college career. I, up till this point, have been very skeptical. I have remained I don't buy this. It's summer. I've seen Ty Rodgers jumper clips too. It never translates with guys who just don't shoot the basketball. But the reality is this. This is a message from Michigan State basketball to repeatedly do this. This isn't just one, I'm working on my shot video. This is every single time we put up footage, Coen Carr is making threes. They're trying to tell us something, and he has hit them at Moneyball this year. I know we're not supposed to use that as a data point, but he has made them this year. So my question to you is, do you buy that Coen Carr has added a legitimate three-point shot this summer?
Well, first off, Greg, this was prime Darren Sproles level elusiveness on your part to use Ty Rodgers as the other example when your program right now is showcasing your point guard knocking down threes in practice clips as well. Way to deflect. But no, I'm not ready to say I buy the Coen Carr jumper. I think the Michigan State socials team has done a good job where they show it. It's really quick and you really only see his upper body. And I think in terms of mechanics, I'm no shot doctor, but I fancy myself as one who dabbles in it. He looks more connected. It looks smoother. I've always thought like his lower body, the way he kicks his legs when he's shooting has never quite looked right to me. And you can see his lower body still doesn't look quite as in sync, even just in that split second that they show him shooting the three. I like that they're showing it. I think that tells me the social team knows what the fan base wants. And I think at this point of the offseason, you're playing into hope. You can deal with the realism and legitimate expectations when it comes to November and the ball's about to tip. Right now, let me get hype about my team. Let me forget about the weaknesses we have and show me how those weaknesses become strengths.
Mm,
So
mm.
I'm with it, even though I don't buy it.
Okay, fair. I may regret this. In fact, I probably really will regret. I'll be so mad at myself for falling for this if he ends up just going 5 for 15 from three again this year. I'm buying that this is real. I am buying that this is real. I don't really recall Michigan State in the offseason doing something like this with a player before, where like they just keep beating us on the head with something. I don't think that's a mirage. I think if this wasn't real, I don't think they'd be doing that. And I agree with you. It's not exactly the prettiest jumper, but also like Coen Carr doing anything on a basketball floor that's not dunking is not going to look as pretty as it does when he dunks. So I think that's kind of shading some of this for me. To your point or your question on the Cadeau stuff, just briefly, I would like to remind people I'm not an Elliot Cadeau fan. I'm not taunting his shooting, to be clear. But Elliot Cadeau has made 24 more threes than Coen Carr has attempted in his career, which is why I pointed to Ty Rodgers. There are bad shooters, and then there are guys who don't shoot. Coen has been in the don't shoot category. At bare minimum, it feels like he's going to start shooting some, which is important for this team. He doesn't need to shoot 40%, to be clear. But if he can shoot 30% and shoot 100 threes this year instead of 15, that would be massive because now you have to guard him to the line, he can blow by and try and get some baseline drives and rise over people to finish. From a guy who doesn't shoot, now we can flip back to the Cadeau category. Bad shooters. That's Jeremy Fears Jr. He's shot the ball. He's always become a willing shooter. You sat completely off him. He'll shoot it. He's the Cadeau one. In fact, I've said it before. I think Fears and Cadeau are practically identical players, other than Fears has more winning stuff up here than Cadeau does. Um,
Fears is also a better flexor.
He's a better flexor. You're right. Big time scream guy for sure. Jeremy Fears' jumper. He makes it in this video. I mean, this is one of the first times when they've shown Fears' jumper in previous videos this summer. They have not shown us the ball going in. So he made one. We saw it here. Might be the ugliest make that I've seen in a highlight reel this year, both in terms of how the ball went in the basket, but more importantly, his form. Let's talk about it briefly. This looks like a completely reconstructed jumper. And I have heard some rumors. I don't know how real this is or not. I've heard some rumors that Jeremy has tried to work with Mike Miller this summer to basically shot doctor him into a completely new form. About 2 weeks ago, somebody that we do feel is a reliable source messaged us and told us that apparently Fears had completely restructured the form to the point that it was really uncomfortable looking. And I don't know if this is true, but this is what the one source told us. They said he missed like 20 straight at Moneyball, and it was like visibly ugly.
Mm.
We didn't talk about this on the channel until now because of this. I don't know if I buy that report. I think if he was really missing 20 straight threes at Moneyball, someone would have told us that by now, and we would have probably made a separate conversation about it. But I will say this. That's new form in this video, that jumper. That is new form, and it almost looks like he's thinking about it. And I'm glad they picked one that went in the video, but it doesn't look all that repeatable. It certainly doesn't look fluid, and it looks like it might back up what our source gave us, that he has a whole new jumper that is incredibly ugly and is not going in right now. What do you make of Fears' form and his jumper there?
Yeah, I kind of had the same thought. Was just the release looked slow, deliberate, and not exactly connected. I don't know if I would quite say there was a hitch, but it looks like there's a clear, almost like he jumps into it first and then gets the upper body involved, as opposed to letting the ball kind of bring his entire upper body up upon the release. So yeah, I had the same thought. I didn't really think that Fears had a pretty jumper before, but I think it did look a little bit smoother than this. And any sort of mechanical fixes, I honestly, going back to the Cadeau comp, you could tell like he made some tweaks between his freshman to sophomore year at Carolina. I think primarily with better lower body balance. That was, from my understanding, what kind of plagued him throughout his freshman year. And you could see it on free throws too. His he would tend to like stand up on his tiptoes when he would shoot a free throw and didn't have like the good solid base. I think in my opinion, or from what I saw, what I watched of him, the base was what had the most work between freshman and sophomore year. But it never really looked full, like completely comfortable. Like it was 100% smooth. Cadeau kind of had that same slow release, bringing the ball up past his body, that I wonder if we're seeing from Fears a little bit. Maybe some of it just takes time. And between now and November, if he truly is tweaking those mechanics, it's going to look a lot more connected. But I definitely think I would say it's worth noting that as maybe concern is too strong of a phrase at this point, but to at least call it something to monitor.
It's weird how mental shooting can be too, because like, listen, Fears as a recruit, I don't think had all these shooting concerns, and obviously the injury he went through, the situation there off the court is like it can totally derail an entire career. So the fact that he's still a very productive basketball player with some of this is impressive, but he never was a guy that was like has a hitch, needs completely new form. He was just like an
Mhm.
okay to good shooter, and
Mhm.
that was enough. But man, I've seen workout videos with him through the years where like the shot looks very fluid, it just doesn't always go in. And it looks to me that he's completely restructured things. And I don't know if that's going to be good or not. it might be worth a shot because, man, he's a career 31% shooter on really low volume. That's not good. So if you think you can fix it, sure, tear it down. It's like a golf swing, right? You're topping the ball, go get lessons and come back with a new swing. Feels like that's what Fears is trying to do. But count me skeptical. If this is the output of whatever shot changes he's tried to do, it looks slower and worse from a release standpoint than it used to. And that would scare me, quite frankly, honestly, because Fears is also not really anywhere else in this video other than a wide open pull up three. And we're kind of talking like this is supposed to be his team. And man, other pieces are looking like they're doing more anytime they show us something right now. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. Overall, stock up, stock down for Michigan State based on 45 seconds of footage they gave us.
I got to go stock up. I bleed green and white after becoming a fan last year.
I'm gonna go stock up too, largely because I think I've been coming into this year saying it's all on Jeremy Fears, and I'm coming out of these videos thinking it's not. They've got other guys who are going to contribute in a big way. This video is brought to you by NBA 2K Labs, or maybe college football labs, because the people behind 2K Labs have just built something awesome. CFBLabs.com has everything you need to play college football 26 even better. Cart, you've been playing the game, right?
I have been, but I'm behind the eight ball, Gregory. There's a lot of people out there who got a little bit of edge on me, but the good folks over at 2K Labs got me covered. They got the playbooks I need, the plays, the head-to-head coaches, knowing some teams. Obviously, way too many college football teams. I need the inside edge here, and they got all different types of things to help me get that edge.
Yeah, I jumped in and started playing Road to Glory over the weekend, and I ended up like a 2-star recruit that did not get one snap in season one because I chose the wrong school with the wrong roster that was way too loaded. Had I known that CFBLabs.com exists, I would have made a much more wise decision in my Road to Glory mode. They've got teams, playbooks, coaches, team comparison tools. You can literally see every single play in the game, every player in the game, their rating, what they're good at, all in one consolidated place online to help you make the right choices and win more games in college football 26. CFBLabs.com. Go check it out.